A very good evening. Good evening to you. Welcome to our second edition of News Tonight. My name is Michael Jordan Lukomwa with Elizabeth Nakakoni. We'll start with the top stories of the night, and the biggest is President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni releases a list of cabinet ministers to serve with him in the 2021-26 office 2021-26 term of office. Let's move on with the headlines. Kampala Arcade's compliance to SOPs increases. Countdown on upcountry travel lockdown. Travelers still stranded at bus terminals. Egypt to begin locally manufacturing China's Sinovac vaccines in mid-June. While Uganda cranes to play Bafana Bafana in a friendly on the 10th of this month. Yes, good evening once again. In the biggest story of the evening, His Excellency President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, just as he promised yesterday while meeting the NRM Parliamentary Caucus of this new term, he has released the list of cabinet ministers and state ministers to serve with him in this term of office 2021-26. And he says in the first paragraph that I hereby inform the country that by virtue of the authority given to the President of Uganda by Article 1082, 108A clause 1, 113 clause 1 and 114 clause 1 of the 1995 Constitution of the Republic of Uganda, I hereby appoint H.E. the Vice President, the Right Honorable Minister, Honorable Cabinet Ministers and other ministers as indicated below. The list goes as follows. 1. Her Excellency the Vice President, President Yoweri Museveni has appointed Honorable Jessica Alupo, who is a retired major of the UPDF, as Vice President of the Republic of Uganda. The Right Honorable Prime Minister and Leader of Government Business in Parliament is the Honorable Robina Nabanja. First Deputy Prime Minister and Minister for East African Community Affairs is the Right Honorable Rebecca Kadaga, I beg your pardon, who is former Speaker of Parliament. The second Deputy Prime Minister and Deputy Leader of Government Business is Honorable General Moses Ali. Third Deputy Prime Minister and Minister without portfolio is Honorable Lukia Nakadama. Minister of Education and Sports is Honorable Janet Kataha Museveni. Minister Office of the President, that is presidency, is Miss Mariam Doka Babalanda. Minister Office of the President, Security, Honorable Jim Muhwezi. Minister Office of the President, serviced by the State House, Controller in charge of Science, Technology and Innovation is Dr. Musenero Monica. Minister for Kampala, Capital City Affairs and Metropolitan Affairs, Hajati Misi Kabanda. Minister Office of the Prime Minister, General Duties is Right Honorable Kasule Lumumba. Government Chief Whip is Honorable Tayebwa Thomas. Honorable Tayebwa Thomas is Government Chief Whip. Honorable Onek Hillary is the new Minister, Office of the Prime Minister for Relief, Disaster Preparedness and Refugees. Honorable Maria Goretti Kitutu is Minister for Karamoja Affairs. Minister for Agriculture, Animal Industry and Fisheries is Honorable Frank Tumwebaze. Minister, and that is Attorney General, is Mr. Chiyowa Chiwanuka. Minister of Defense and Veteran Affairs is Honorable Vincent Sempi Jabamulangachi. Minister of Energy and Mineral Development is Honorable Ruth Nankabirwa. Minister for Finance, Planning and Economic Development is Honorable Matia Kasaija. Minister of Foreign Affairs is the Honorable Jeje Odongo. Minister of Gender, Labor and Social Development is Honorable Betty Yamongi. Minister of Health is Dr. Jen Acheng. Minister of Information, Communications, Technology and National Guidance is Dr. Chris Bariomunsi. And Minister of Internal Affairs is Honorable Kahinda Otafide. Minister of Justice and Constitutional Affairs is still pending. Minister of Lands, Housing and Urban Development is the Honorable Judith Nabakova. Minister for Local Government is Honorable Raphael Majezi. Minister for Public Service is Honorable Muruli Mukasa. The President has appointed Honorable Tom Butime as Minister of Tourism, Wildlife and Antiquities, and appointed Mr. Francis Mwebesa as Minister of Trade, Industry and Cooperatives. Minister for Water and Environment is Honorable Cheptoris Mangusho. Minister of Works and Transport is General Edward Katumba Wamala. Ministers of State, Office of the President has Minister of State, Office of the President, Economic Monitoring, Honorable Peter Ogwang. Minister of State, Office of the President, Ethics and Integrity, Honorable Akelo Rosa. Office of the Vice President has Minister of State, Office of the Vice President, Honorable Mutasingwa Diana Nankunda. Office of the Prime Minister has Minister of State, Office of the Prime Minister, Relief, Disaster Preparedness and Refugees, Honorable Anyakun Esther Davinia. Honorable Kuyuchwiny Grace Freedom is Minister of State, Office of the Prime Minister, Northern Uganda, and Honorable Agnes Nandutu, a new MP, is Minister of State for Office of the Prime Minister, Karamoja Affairs. Minister, Office of the Prime Minister, Minister of State, Office of the Prime Minister, Luweero Triangle, is Alice Kaboyo. Luweero Triangle, Renzori Region, Miss Alice Kaboyo. And Minister of State, Office of the Prime Minister, Bunyoro Affairs, is Honorable Namuyangu Kacha Jennifer. Minister of State, Office of the Prime Minister, Teso Affairs, is Honorable Dr. Ongalo Obote. We go to Ministry of Agriculture, Animal Industry and Fisheries. The State Ministers there. State Minister for Agriculture, Animal Industry and Fisheries, Agriculture, Honorable Chakulaga Fred Wino. Minister of State for Agriculture, Animal Industry and Fisheries, Animal Industry, the Honorable Bright Ramidama. Minister of State for Agriculture, Animal Industry and Fisheries, Honorable Adoa Helen. Ministry of Justice and Constitutional Affairs, we have Deputy Attorney General as Honorable Kafuzi Jackson. Ministry of Defense and Veteran Affairs, there's Minister of State for Defense and Veteran Affairs, that is Honorable Oboth Jacob Maxson. Minister of State for Defense and Veteran Affairs specifically, is Honorable Oleru Huda. Ministry of East African Affairs, the State Minister for East African Affairs as Mr. Magode Ikuya. Then Ministry of Education and Sports, Minister of State for Education and Sports, Higher Education, Honorable Dr. Muyingo John Chrysostom. Minister of State for Education and Sports Primary, Dr. Honorable Moriku Joyce Kaduku. Minister of State for Education and Sports, Honorable Obua Dennis Hamson. Ministry of Energy and Mineral Development, State Ministers are State Minister for Energy and Mineral Development, Energy, Honorable Okasai Sidronius Opolot. Minister of State for Energy and Minerals is Honorable Peter Lokaris. Minister of Finance, Planning and Economic Development. Minister of State for General Duties in the Ministry of Finance, Planning and Economic Development, Honorable Henry Musasizi. Minister of State for Finance, Planning, Honorable Amos Lugolobi. Minister of State for Finance, Privatization and Investment, Honorable Evelyn Anite. Minister of State for Finance, Micro Development, Honorable Cheyune Haruna Kasolo. Minister of State for Gender, Labor and Social Development, Honorable Helen Asamo, Labor and Social Development for Disability. Then Minister of State for Gender, Honorable Gidudu Mafabi, Minister of Labor, Gender and Social Development, in charge of the elderly. Minister of Health, the President has appointed State Minister for Health, General Duties as Honorable Bangirana Kawoya. Minister of State for Health, Primary Health Care, Honorable Margaret Muhanga. Minister of Information, Communication Technology and National Guidance, the President has appointed Minister of State for Information, Communication Technology and National Guidance as Miss Joyce Sebugwao. Ministry of Internal Affairs, Minister of State for Internal Affairs, General David Muhozi. Yes, Ministry of Internal Affairs, Minister of State for Internal Affairs, General David Muhozi. Ministry of Kampala, Capital City and Metropolitan Affairs, Minister of State for Kampala, Capital City and Metropolitan Affairs, Mr. Kabuye Chofatogabye. Ministry of Foreign Affairs, we have State Minister for Foreign Affairs, International Affairs, Honorable Orie Mokelo. Minister of State for Foreign Affairs, Regional Affairs, Mr. John Mulimba. Ministry of Gender, Labour and Social Development, Minister of State for Gender, Gender and Culture, Honorable Peace Mutuzo. Minister of State for Gender, Youth and Children Affairs, Honorable Nyirabashisi Sarah Mateke. Minister of State for Gender, Employment and Industrial Relations, Honorable Okelo Engola. Minister of State for Gender, Disability Affairs, Honorable Helen Asamo. Ministry of Trade, Industry and Cooperatives, the Ministers of State there are Minister of State for Trade, Cooperatives, Honorable Gume Frederick Ngobi. Minister of State for Trade, Industry, Honorable Bahati David. Minister of State for Trade, Honorable Harriet Ntabazi. Ministry of Water and Environment, the Ministers of State there are Minister of State for Water Environment. Environment is Honorable Beatrice Anyuar. Minister of State for Water, Honorable Aisha Sechindi. Ministry of Works and Transport, the Ministers of State are Minister of State for Works and Transport, Works, Honorable Musa Echweru. Minister of State for Works, Transport, Honorable Biamuka Mafred. Ministry of Lands, Housing and Urban Development, the Minister of State for Lands, Housing and Urban Development, particularly housing, is Honorable Namuganza. Minister of State for Lands, Urban Development is Honorable Obiga Kanya. Minister of State for Lands is Mr. Sam Mayanja. Ministry of Local Government, the Minister of State for Local Government is Honorable Victoria Rusoke. Ministry of Public Service, the Minister of State for Public Service is Grace Mary Mugasa. Ministry of Tourism, Wildlife and Antiquities, Minister of State for Tourism, Wildlife and Antiquities is Honorable Martin Mugara. Special Envoy, Right Honorable Dr. Ruhakana Rugunda, Special Envoy for Special Duties, Office of the President. Senior Presidential Advisors, number 1 is Honorable Amelia Chambade, Senior Presidential Advisor on Industries. Number 2 is Honorable Betty Kamea, Senior Presidential Advisor on Lands. Professor Ephraim Kamuntu, Senior Presidential Advisor, Economic and Manifesto Implementation. Honorable Sarah Kanyike, Senior Presidential Advisor, Kampala Affairs. Honorable General Eli Tumwine, Senior Presidential Advisor on Security and the NRM Secretariat. Honorable Richard Todwong is the new Secretary General of the NRM. Honorable Rose Namayanja is the Deputy Secretary General of the NRM. We'll keep you posted on the new developments as everything will be unfolding in terms of this appointment. Just to remind you, Parliament has to sit and approve all these ministers, starting with the Vice President and the Prime Minister. We thank you so much for watching. It's UBC News. Let's now move on with other stories. President Yoweri Museveni proposed an export for a step minister in his new cabinet, an idea that was overwhelmingly supported by the NRM Parliamentary Caucus that sat at Kololo ceremonial grounds. The NRM Parliamentary Caucus unanimously approved the proposal by President Museveni to broaden the cabinet from 79 ministers to 80. The president, who is also the national chairman of the NRM party, was meeting members of the NRM caucus at Kololo ceremonial grounds. He highly commended members of the caucus for their solidarity during the recent election of the Speaker of Parliament and Deputy Speaker. He congratulated the members upon being elected to the August House. The MPs were starting the process of expressing their interest in the parliamentary committees of Parliament. The President informed the legislators that the idea of moving alone as a political individual was not a viable one, but a distortion. He reminded members of NRM caucus of the resolve he and other patriots took when Amin came to power to resist the regime, as its leader would not understand the main aim of the student group that was out to unite the people of Uganda and liberate countries in Africa. President Museveni also cautioned the NRM members of Parliament to avoid the issue of factions, as they do not add any value to the party. He pledged to announce the new cabinet soon beginning with the Vice President and the Prime Minister, who will then kickstart the business in the House. And in as far as releasing the cabinet is concerned, he has done that, and that's the cabinet we read in a very fast story. Legislators, meanwhile, have expressed mixed reactions over the proposal by President Yoweri Museveni to increase the size of cabinet. President Museveni yesterday during the NRM caucus meeting said he needs to add one ministerial post on the table of state ministers. We have details to this.
President Yoweri Museveni on Monday received support from his ruling National Resistance Movement Party, where members from NRM supported him to increase the size of cabinet to 80 ministers. Museveni tabled the motion before the NRM caucus at Kololo Independence Grounds in Kampala, asking to add one more slot on the current cabinet lineup.
I want to maintain more or less the same numbers, but with one additional Minister of State from the present numbers, the ones we have now. Because the numbers we have now are total of 79, if you include the Ministers of State. So I intend to propose that I add one Minister of State to the present lineup.
The motion was overwhelmingly backed by the MPs.
Those in favor say aye. The ones against say no. Or the very weak, no, the ayes have it.
The last cabinet was made of 29 cabinet ministers and 50 ministers of state, which the president has proposed to increase to 51, while retaining the rest of the lineup, bringing the total number of ministers to 80. To some legislators, the taxpayers have to further dig into pockets to sustain the highly paid and the facilitated ministers, something not good to our economy.
Kenya has 20 ministers, Tanzania has 19 ministers, Burundi, one of the poorest countries in this region, has 18. Even Rwanda has, I think, 23. What's the use of 83 ministers? I can tell you, we have been here for the last 5 years. Some of them, I don't know them.
Right now, the country is struggling with COVID. Our health sector is staggering. The education sector is staggering. Even the security of Ugandans is not good. So we need to find ways of allocating resources to these critical sectors. Having a bloated cabinet is not the answer to Uganda's solutions, to Uganda's problems.
So this notion that the president is saying that by appointing people, services will move faster. The biggest question should be to him, that tell me what service was delayed because there was no minister.
But some have supported the idea.
Creating one Minister of State, as the NRM Parliamentary Caucus agreed yesterday, is not a big deal, because Ugandans, I want to allay the fears of Ugandans that when they create one position of the Minister of State, will take the entire budget of this country. That one is not true.
Adding one, I think it's not too bad. I was worried that he would add 5 or 10, but I think let us see the one. Maybe there is a ministerial position which he is introducing, so we get to know how it will help us. But I think he should stop now increasing the number of ministers.
Business people operating in arcades and shopping malls downtown Kampala want government to intensify messages of prevention of coronavirus for tenants and clients to comply with SOPs. The chairman, Kampala Arcades Traders Association, Katongole Godfrey, says that the compliance follows awareness on coronavirus spread.
People operating businesses downtown Kampala are slowly being conscious about the existence of the killer coronavirus, which is spreading fast in Kampala and surrounding districts. Members of Kampala Arcades Traders Association attribute this to the presidential address over the weekend, the current statistics on cases of COVID-19 and the general situation with big numbers of people getting flu and cough. Unlike previous months, where there was laxity on washing hands by clients entering arcades, people have started utilizing the available washing facilities.
I think people have come to understand that the virus is real. They are not joking. Sometime back they would just bypass without washing hands. But I think now people have realized that the thing is serious and they are taking the issues very, very serious.
Some shops have temperature guns to measure temperature of clients, with security at the gate monitoring hand washing. Mukwana Ked is compliant as security guards enforce standard operating procedures at the entrance. Every shop attendant has improvised what they have to ensure clients wash hands. We witnessed mineral water bottles with water and liquid soap at entrances of shops. Some attendants say they cannot afford hand sanitizers.
They have improved since right from the advice of the president. We have improved. That's why, sometime back I didn't want to put on the mask, but now I have to keep it on every day. Even some other people are putting it on every day.
Shop attendants observed social distance, although boundaries between buyers and sellers are skipped by clients.
We try at least a minimum of a meter because, shops are not very big. But I think with a meter and a mask on, we are safe.
The Deputy IGP, Major General Paul Okech, emphasizes personal responsibility in observing SOPs.
Right? And not leave the responsibility to police alone. This should be a shared responsibility. Fighting the spread of COVID should be a shared responsibility between the security organizations and the public.
The president, during his address on Sunday, did not close arcades and shopping malls, but urged them to observe SOPs to reduce the spread of COVID-19. I'm Navka Farida and Stephen Kalisia in Kampala.
Thousands of people from different parts of Uganda are stranded in different bus terminals and taxi parks in downtown Kampala. The crisis has been attributed to the scarcity of vehicles to ease transportation means, not excluding the high traffic jam at peak hours, and the risks of curfew by police have further worsened the situation.
It's just a few hours to the lockdown of 42 days partial lockdown on public means of transport, playing out and in Kampala as instructed by President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni in his last address on COVID-19 pandemic status last week. He gave all public transport from one district to another only 3 days to transport people who want to travel up and ahead of the collapse of 3 days due to tomorrow Tuesday midnight. However, the directive has attracted unprecedented overcrowding in bus terminal and taxi park as travelers campaign for scarcity of means of transport to leave the city where the cost of living is exponentially becoming expensive. Kalyango John, aged 60, who was in the new taxi park heading to Chotera, says he came in the wee hours of the morning, but by 3 p.m. we found him seated, still waiting for a taxi.
These people who are driving these vehicles have to come with empty vehicles and have to take back people. Because we are in a rush, we are given only 3 days to clear the what? To take back the students and for us to go, who want to go to the village, to go to the village. Otherwise, if we had been given plenty of time or enough time, we would be at the old rates.
Jinja Palisa, Bulisa, Fort Portal and other districts, we found passengers still stranded at the taxi park with a lot of hopes of having means of transport to their countryside homes.
I came here at around 8. Around 8 is where I reached here, but right now I think I will leave here at 8 again.
Transport fares remained hiked according to travelers.
As you see, the time has gone. All buses, whenever any bus comes, it is occupied. It is already full.
tewali kye tukola, tuli awo tetulina be tuvuga abantu bonna bagenze.
Besides the crisis in the transportation of people up country, business is moving normally in malls, arcades and in the streets of Kampala. Ivan Juko, Tanaba Kenneth compiled the report.
UBC News Tonight. Passengers are still, I beg your pardon, passengers are still stranded at different bus parks and passengers are still stranded at different bus parks within Kampala City ahead of Thursday 10th June deadline. President Yoweri Museveni issued the deadline to allow parents collect children from schools before the inter-district travel ban takes effect.
As the clock ticks to the 4-day deadline for inter-district travel restrictions that were issued by President Museveni on Sunday, bus parks in Kampala are overwhelmed with passengers seeking transport to return to villages. Transport fares have also been hiked, and majority of the affected are school children, students who have to return home after the immediate closure of schools on Monday 7th.
We have no hope of leaving this place until people reduce, because we are so many people, and the only people who are able to go are those people that know someone, or those people that have someone who knows someone.
At different bus park terminals, there is a struggle as passengers try to catch up with the few available buses, and this mother seems to have lost hope. Some passengers claim to have slept at the bus terminals to seek a chance to board an available bus.
Yes, yesterday I came here very late and we had to sleep outside. So even we were fearing of robbers, So we came here, things are not good. We are lacking money and the prices for buses are high.
They have increased the fare, they have doubled. And then since morning I haven't tasted anything. I don't know what I'm going to do, but I believe, God willing, I have to talk to my home people so that they get me something. That's basically what I can tell you right now.
Namaiba Bus Park manager Nelson Sekandi says transport fare hike is because of the one-way route.
Because of COVID-19, following the SOPs, they are carrying now half capacity, which is 39. And also, these bus operators, they have increased the fares because of the overwhelming number in the terminal. Now, like in Gulu, they're charging 40,000, but right now, 140, 150, up to 170.
Bus operators playing different routes have hiked prices by over 80%, and routes like Fort Portal charge 90,000 from 40,000. Kampala to Kisoro fare is at 100,000 from 60,000, while to Arua fare is 150,000 from 50,000.
I don't expect to travel like today, because I'm seeing every hour and then people are increasing and they are charging the transport very high.
I'm telling you, my brother, right now we are in tears. And the burden is now being transferred onto members of parliament. As we talk now, transport fares from Kampala to Gulu is 100,000. From Gulu to main district deep in the village is 100,000. All the students who are learning within Kampala, they are now supposed to pay 200,000 Uganda shillings in order for that student to reach Amoro district where I come from.
On Sunday 6th, President Museveni update on the public of COVID-19 allowed buses and taxis to operate for only 4 days until 10th of June. Bus owners and passengers request for more time to transport the growing number of passengers traveling up country.
I don't really know actually what we're going to do, because I do want to leave this place. If it is possible in any way, they can add more time for these people, because there is no way these people will actually finish moving by Thursday.
Thousands of passengers, with the majority of students, are still stranded in different parks in Kampala City as President Museveni's 4-day deadline for inter-district travel restrictions approach. Mbale, UBC News, Kampala.
The situation at Mbarara Regional Referral Hospital is tense as COVID-19 cases continue to surge. One person this morning succumbed to the disease, bringing the number now to 4 within just 1 week. Dr. Celestine Barije says the situation is worrying as 50% of the people they test at the hospital turn positive.
The Regional Referral Hospital had 17 patients in critical conditions in the intensive care unit, but one person died and another one was evacuated by the UPDF helicopter to Kampala seeking specialized treatment.
Among the patients here, certainly others are, very critical, and shortly we are going to evacuate one to Kampala because he needs to be treated from there. The air ambulance is coming shortly, so that also is going to happen.
The hospital has registered 101 COVID-19 patients, of whom 89 are under home-based care. By press time, Mbarara Regional Referral Hospital had 16 COVID-19 patients admitted to the intensive care unit.
The numbers are big, both those who are coming to test and then also those who turn positive. Certainly, not all are admitted. As I said, out of 100 that we have tested, 17 are the only ones here.
But Regional Referral Hospital Director Dr. Celestine Barije says at least 50% of the persons they test for COVID-19 are positive.
Which means wherever they come from, COVID must be over in the city.
Ensonga ziringa bbiri zempapula President Museveni asibe flight eve bweru India alege kusiba ffe.
The hospital has only 35 bed capacity to take care of the critical COVID-19 patients. The hospital has got 2 oxygen plants, but the hospital cannot sustain both COVID-19 and emergency patients in ICU.
So we envisage if the transmission continues to be like this, we are going to have a challenge.
Meanwhile, one unidentified doctor who was also battling COVID-19 in ICU at Mbarara Hospital has been evacuated to Kampala by a UPDF helicopter for treatment. Back in the central business district, some people are still not adhering to the COVID-19 standard operating procedures. They move without face masks, while others leave them hanging under the chin.
Ate wakirwe kibanga kisoboka n'ebyokwerinda nabo bayingiremu anabanga tayambadde masiki bamukwate.
Police has started arresting people found flouting standard operating procedures in Mbarara city.
The Uganda Police Force is intending to step up surveillance coordination to combat crime in Uganda. While giving an update on the 1st June assassination attempt on General Katumba Wamala, in which his daughter and driver were killed, the Deputy IGP Paul Lokech referred to it as an eye-opener to the security system in Uganda.
A failed assassination attempt on Works and Transport Minister General Katumba Wamala, Uganda Police has given an update.
I had time to walk from the scene of crime to the residence of General Katumba. It is 4.1 kilometers from the scene of crime. It was 4.1 kilometers. Not even a single camera was on that road. So you can see the gaps.
The Deputy IGP Paul Lokech has conceded that the assassination attempt on former Works and Transport Minister General Katumba Wamala in Kisasi was as a result of loopholes in surveillance and coordination to combat crime.
It's not true that these are very sophisticated professional killers. It's not. Because I was also looking at their weaknesses on the foot. I was just also looking at the weaknesses that they also had. And I was only crying, I wish I was a foot soldier there. This thug would have not got away.
Police say though the incident was avoidable, police response couldn't match that of the assailants.
There had also been some delay with the people manning the CCTVs. At times you don't get some of my words, it's only yours. When I talk about real-time intelligence, that means I am talking about spot time, real-time intelligence. I'm reporting that I am seeing my friend Mr. Suleiman now this is happening. That's what it means by real-time intelligence.
Another group of 32 National Unity Platform supporters have been paraded in the General Court Martial in Machinde and charged with unlawful possession of fire ammunition. The accused, who pleaded not guilty to the alleged offences, were remanded to Chitalia and Chigo government prisons until the 22nd of June 2021.
The General Court Martial before Lieutenant General Andrew Gutiérrez Tuesday afternoon paraded over 30 fresh National Unity Platform supporters in courts of law. The accused in court were slapped with counts of unlawful possession of fire ammunition. However, they pleaded not guilty.
Seguja Rashid, also known as Chairman, Secretary Yasin, also known as Machete, between November 2020 and the 12th day of May 2021 in diverse areas of Jinja, Mbale, Kireka, Nakulabie, Kawempe, Katete, Kampala Central were in possession of 13 pieces of explosive devices, which are ammunition ordinarily the monopoly of the defense forces.
The accused did not have their lawyers, were asked whether they were okay to be represented by the government lawyer. However, some accused preferred to be represented by their lawyers Wamini Anthony, Medad Lubega Segona, Benjamin Katana, and Shamim Malende. Prosecution led by Major Samuel Masereji, after charge, informed court that inquiries are still ongoing. On this, requested court for more time, which court granted.
We pray for a shorter judgment of up to the 22nd of June 2021 commission. My Lord, we pray that the male accused person be remanded to Italian prison and the lady Olivia retired, remanded to Chigo prison.
Following the absence of their lawyers, the accused were further remanded to Chiga and Kitaria government prisons until 22nd June 2021. Prosecution alleges that in November 2020 and on 12th May 2021, the 32 accused persons and others still at large were found in unlawful possession of fire ammunition, a monopoly of the Uganda People's Defense Forces. These include Sechitoleko Yasin Alais Machete, Togumayo Ronald, Kakoza Nordin, Seguja Rashid, Nyombi Richard, Kalanzi Shafiq, Lutayo Olivia, Chiwanuka Musa, Kato Emma, among others. Although a disabled for Elias Eddie Mutu and 16 others were meant to appear in court today for bail. However, they were nowhere to be seen in court, neither their lawyers. Deborah Namamonde, UBC News.
The National Bureau for Non-Governmental Organization has suspended 6 NGOs over fraud-related cases. The Bureau established investigations that showed that these have been presenting forged documents to stakeholders and defrauding beneficiaries. This was addressed by the Executive Director, National Bureau for NGOs, Okelo Stephen, at the Media Center in Kampala.
Several public complaints, the National Bureau for Non-Government Organization carried out investigations on individuals who pose as illegal entities in the guise of providing services to the community.
So some of these documents are actually forged, and therefore through our investigations we have established this. We have also found that there are NGOs that are defrauding their stakeholders, and some of these stakeholders include their beneficiaries, their funders, and the general public, and using that to extort money from different NGOs out there and the people generally.
In the process, 6 NGOs have been suspended and banned from operating, not until they prove legal procedures. The NGOs suspended include Equal Opportunities for Women and Children in Uganda, Global Health Community Empowerment, and the funds embezzled to be refunded to the beneficiaries.
That is called Agape Sanctuary Ministries International. And I can tell you that out of our investigations, we established that close to over 32 billion had been extracted by this organization. And because of their fraudulent nature, we have also decided that we need to blacklist this organization because it has already extorted a lot of money from people, and it has to be stopped by all authorities wherever they're operating, because they were still continuing to do that even as we were still investigating.
The institution is also investigating incompliant NGOs and urges all the institutions to follow the guidelines set by the Bureau to avoid inconvenience.
And therefore, more investigations are being carried out, and we are asking people that if there are people out there who are trying to take advantage of them, they need to become more vigilant and should carry out due diligence. Can you become more transparent and accountable in all your operations?
The general public is reminded to stay vigilant on operations of NGOs. Efforts to reach the organizations were futile as there were no response to the calls. Lydia Chomkama, UBC News.
Environmental Police has given an ultimatum of 1 week to alcohol distillers of Musoto village in Mbale city to either contain their waste and preserve river Nakibiso or close their businesses. The warning was echoed during a meeting held at the distilling area in Musoto, attended by local leaders and chaired by the commandant of the Environmental Police, Okoshi Simon.
This year, the administration of Sino Industrial Park in Mbale City forwarded a complaint to the National Environment Management Authority seeking a solution to the pollution of River Nakibiso, which runs through the industrial park. River Nakibiso has been polluted by waragi distillers from Musoto village. The distillers were instructed to find a way of containing the waste, but they have since then failed. The Environment Police received reports that the distillers opened the channels at night to lead wastewater into River Nakibiso. According to Environmental Police, the leadership of the area has to identify the non-compliant distillers for action to be taken.
Those who will comply and save the river from pollution, we shall allow them to carry out their business. But we have that last option of total closure. So Musoto might have a lockdown of activities if they continue like that.
The councillor representing the sub-county at Industrial City Division, Onen Kenneth, says they formed a team to deal with the characters that are non-compliant with the guidelines set by the NEMA and Environmental Police.
We are going to deal with those culprits who do things at night. We shall deal with them because we want to work. Not all people are bad. There are those ones who do it still fully, but we shall deal with them. We shall coordinate with the police and make sure that some of them are arrested. Because now to save our community is being serious, coming at us as a community and being serious to ensure that there is no more pouring. Those ones who pour at night, they don't do so. Especially when it rains, that's when they thought it was not bad when it rains, but it is good they have understood and they won't do it again.
Yes, we thank you so much for watching. Let's take a very short break. We have more on return. Please do not make any mistake of going anywhere.
Today in history.
Today marks 1 year since Burundi's president Pierre Nkurunziza passed on. Pierre Nkurunziza died on 8th June at the age of 57, whose death, according to the post-mortem report, was caused by a heart attack. He was born on 18th December 1964 and served as the 9th president of Burundi for almost 15 years, from August 2005 until his death in June 2020. A member of the Hutu ethnic group, Nkurunziza taught physical education before becoming involved in politics during the Burundian Civil War. He later became a leader of the CNDD-FDD political party in 2000, through which at the end of the Civil War was elected president and held the post controversially for 3 terms, making him the longest ruling president in Burundi.
We've cut and reduced our MTN Momo withdrawal rates. Now you can withdraw mobile money at the lowest rates. You also get MTN Central Points when you deposit, send, and withdraw MTN mobile money. Visit our Momo agents countrywide and withdraw mobile money at our reduced rates from 1st May 2021. Everywhere you go. MTN.
Obadde okyeteekerateekera. Kaseera kakanaayo kyani mu kisaawe ky'omupiira kalimu vaawo mpitewo kaakaasa mmeeme n'obuwanguzi bw'ebyafaayo kyonna ekibaawo ng'abawagizi tuyimirira wamu ne ttiimu zaffe okutuusiza ddala ku nkomerero. Gino gye mipiira gy'oteekeddwa okulaba. Weekuumire ku GoTV olw'emipiira egy'akamalirizo egitabangawo mu byafaayo by'omupiira.
GoTV, love it.
Mu kazannyo ka chess kisoboka ebitono okufuuka ebinene. Kye kimu wano na wano. Tunula nkaliriza buli lutambula. Wandiika buli nnamba osobole okweteekateeka obulungi. Nga tofuddeeyo ku bunene bwa kirooto kyo. Manya nti abawanguzi b'enkya beeba bakuuma ebitabo byabwe nga biyonjo. Yanjula kati ennyingiza yo n'enfulumya.
Uganda Revenue Authority, developing Uganda together.
Prosper with Airtel Money today. Become an Airtel Money agent. Apply or register today as an Airtel Money agent free of charge. Or call us on 0800 327 327 toll free. Submit your business documents to be verified by Airtel Uganda free of charge. Feedback will be communicated within a maximum of 5 working days. The Airtel team will be in touch with you for the next business steps, still at no cost. Inquiries, applications, or registrations and verification are all free of charge. To register or know more, call us today on 0800 327 327 toll free. Airtel, the smartphone network.
In efforts to improve quality assurance and Uganda's competitiveness as a tourist destination, Uganda Tourism Board is set to undertake a nationwide grading and classification exercise of hotel and accommodation facilities. As a member of the East African community, Uganda subscribes to the East African Grading and Classification Criteria, a system denoted by stars ranging from 1 to 5. The grading and classification exercise will be crowned by the awarding of star ratings to facilities found compliant to the EAC minimum standards. This is therefore a call to all accommodation and facility owners and managers to register and get licensed by UTB as a requirement and get ready for participation. For more information, visit www.utb.go.ug or email qualityassurance@utb.go.ug for details. Uganda Tourism Board, promoting tourism together.
Ekya COVID-19 kijja kugwa. If we get vaccinated now, observe social distancing, wear masks properly, sanitize or wash our hands with soap and water regularly. Together we can defeat this enemy.
UBC News, welcome back from the break. The Rotary Club of Kampala, Alibad, has presented a strategy of improving sanitation and other hygienic projects for the next 3 years. The newly elected president of the club, Jennifer Mirembe Sensua, presented a plan of renovating St. Andrew's Sebugwao Primary School in Kasana, Luwero. Moving on in business, we'll have that story later on. Financial sector deepening. Uganda and European Union are supporting medium businesses to meet long-term investment capital. The deal flow facility project coverage medium and large businesses to support each other with reasonable capital support.
The deal flow facility targets mature companies seeking to invest not less than 1.8 billion shillings. Large companies are expected to support medium businesses in the fields of capital markets for sustainability.
Which is that growing companies need non-bank financing. Bank financing usually comes with expectation of 100% collateral and is very expensive. Moreover, bank financing is short tenor financing. A lot of growing companies need long-term patient capital that will help them figure out their business model, help them grow, scale, and hire more people and enable job creation.
The facility will change the Ugandan perspective towards capital markets to shape the current and future investment climate.
To develop a domestic private equity industry, because right now there are no domestic funders or local funders or private equity funds. Most of this capital is raised offshore. So we're trying to establish a framework where domestic savers can channel their savings into the private equity funds. So we just want to appreciate the government's commitment to the development of capital markets in this regard, because I believe very soon there will be legislation passed that will allow for tax-free private equity vessels.
This will provide the regulator and policymakers with objective-based direction of regulating the field and attract investors.
This deal flow facility is designed to make Ugandan businesses more investment worthy for non-bank type of financiers like venture capital, private equity, other types of debt financiers, so that these companies can have that injection of capital that will then help them grow.
By enabling local businesses to grow and succeed, a faster multiplier effect on jobs, household income, tax mobilization, and financial inclusion is expected.
Private equity targets are those SMEs that are not ready for capital markets. But once they grow, then they kind of then graduate to the capital markets through IPOs and things like this. So it helps.
The facility is targeting to benefit over 220 companies in 5 years of the first cohort beginning September 2021. Abdul Nasir Lukomwa, UBC News.
Business owners and heads of different organizations have been urged to devise means of sustaining their businesses during this period of the COVID-19 partial lockdown. The chairperson, Chartered Government Institution, Jane Okot Longoya, and KPMG partner Asad Lukwago addressed the media in Kampala to assess ahead of the COVID-19 lockdown. These organizations are preparing a virtual conference called the 10th Annual Directors and Governance and Company Secretaries Conference under the theme Corporate Governance, the Key to Business Resilience, to be held on the 20th of July 2021 in Kampala.
It's very important for companies to be aware of what the national agenda is, what opportunities are there, where the biggest investment is going to be based on the budget and the policies that are being designed, and also what other areas are going to be restricted. We are interested in promoting good leadership and corporate culture. We are interested in shaping strategies and performance for corporates. We are interested in enabling compliance and oversight, and also promoting market confidence through through stakeholder engagement. And that's what conferences like this do. Previous research also suggests that good corporate governance correlates with superior share price growth and sustainable corporate performance. Better governance of business enterprises also are critical to the development of our country, our region, and continent at large.
Research from the Economic Policy Research Center, this is Ministry of Finance, which revealed that during the first wave, 3/4 of the businesses that they had surveyed had laid off staff. That, and we all know, led to a lot of unemployment. And then, of course, there has been reduced business activities, even with those companies that continue to run. So that means we have unemployment, but we also have tax collection affected, we have public service affected. We know that we are now in the second wave and it's really virulent. We have systems and procedures in place. For instance, in public service, there's a procurement called request for quotations. You need 3 quotations. But if you, the procurement manager, ask one from your wife, the other from your uncle, the other from a friend, of course, there's going to be a problem. You're not following the spirit. So when corporate governance comes in is to bring in ethical conduct.
We take it as a responsibility that we use whatever is available to us, whatever resources we have, to promote good corporate governance. And we believe that good corporate governance, the good governance of institutions, of business organizations, is actually so important that you cannot talk of the good governance of nations, the good governance of society, when you don't have good corporate governance. And here we are talking of including the promotion of an ethical climate in institutions and all the associated suppliers and employees and all stakeholders.
Moving on to international news, Egypt is to start local production of Sinovac vaccine mid-June, says their health minister. Sources said that Egypt received 500,000 doses of China's Sinovac coronavirus vaccine on Monday. As the ministry said, local production of the Chinese vaccine will start in mid-June.
Egypt has welcomed the World Health Organization's approval of Sinovac's CoronaVac for emergency use. Cairo had earlier signed an agreement with the vaccine producer to manufacture its jabs domestically.
The Chinese technology is highly advanced, and I know well that the advancement in the manufacturing of pharmaceutical products as a whole, and particularly the vaccines, after the pandemic of COVID-19, the target from this partnership is to use Egypt as a hub to send or to export these medicines and these vaccines to the Arab countries nearby Egypt and also the African continent, because you know well that the China products or Chinese products, particularly in medicine and the vaccines, have a very good reputation in the African continent.
The CEO of the government's vaccine manufacturing arm, Vexera, says the production line for CoronaVac will begin churning out the jabs in mid-June. Since May 21, Chinese experts have been working on transferring the Chinese technology to Egypt and setting up the quality control system to oversee the production of the jab. Experts say the step means that such a partnership will put Egypt in a place to assist in further developing the vaccine.
Any vaccine have been produced in the past period will undergo a lot of modifications to face the viral infection more accurately. I'm sure that the clinical trials will go on after the results of these vaccines have been published in the past period. This will be modified to have a more and more effective results to reach near the 100% efficacy.
Egypt says that it's planning to produce some 2 million doses by the end of June. Before rolling the vaccines out to the public, they must get the Egyptian drug authorities' approval, a process that could take up to 16 weeks. Meanwhile, Vexera will continue producing and storing the CoronaVac jab. Sinovac will routinely export the raw biomaterial needed for the vaccine until Egypt is ready to produce it locally. The CoronaVac vaccines made in Egypt will be rolled out in 2 jabs administered 3 weeks apart. Egypt has not yet announced a price tag for the much-needed COVID-19 vaccine.
The national football team, that's the Uganda Cranes, arrived safely in South Africa for their friendly game against the Bafana of South Africa. The game on the 10th of June at Orlando Stadium in Soweto will help shape the team that is in transition from the old guards incorporating with new and young faces. Cranes head coach Abdallah Mubiru had 15 local players travel for the game. Here are the arrival highlights of the team in South Africa.
The airport terminal. Sanitizing facilities are available at designated areas. Please feel free to ask any airport staff member to direct you to that area. Protect you, protect us.
Yes, that's our dear Uganda Cranes on arrival in South Africa, and we wish them all the best in their endeavors in South Africa. Now, this very evening, His Excellency President Yoweri Museveni has surprised and fulfilled the expectation of him releasing the list of the cabinet ministers that are going to serve with him 2021-26. As we wind up, we want to profile some 3 people that have made news on the list, the 3 or 4 people, and we'll start with our own. As UBC, we fall under the Ministry of Information, Ministry of ICT, Information Communication Technology and National Guidance. Our new minister is the Honorable Dr. Chris Baryomunsi. He was born on the 9th of December 1969, a Ugandan physician, public health specialist, demographer and a politician. He is the former State Minister for Housing in the Cabinet of Uganda. He was appointed to the position on the 6th of June 2016. Yes. A bit of his education background: he went to Makerere University and did a Bachelor of Medicine and Bachelor of Surgery, a postgraduate diploma in demography, Master of Arts in Demography, University of Brighton, a postgraduate diploma in HIV/AIDS management, Atlantic International University, and a PhD in public health. He's a physician and a politician. We congratulate him on this new appointment. Then the other person making news on the list is the former mayor of Rubaga division from the FDC party, that is Joyce Nabosa Sebugwao, a Ugandan politician, entrepreneur, and former minister in the Kingdom of Buganda. Yes. Joyce Nabosa Sebugwao is the former mayor of Rubaga, a division in Kampala City. She has been appointed to be also a state minister in the Ministry of ICT. Then, the other person we'd love to know, for you to know, is the new Prime Minister of the Republic of Uganda. That's the Right Honorable now, Robina Nabanja. The Right Honorable Robina Nabanja, whose picture we're going to have on the screen just in a few seconds, was born on the 17th of December. Here she is. She was born on the 17th of December 1969. She's a Ugandan teacher and politician. She has been the State Minister of Health for General Duties in the Ugandan Cabinet since the 14th of December 2019. Currently, she is the elected Member of Parliament for Kakumiro District, Woman MP. She went to St. Edward's Bukumi Secondary School. If you are not be there, the OG is now Prime Minister. She went to Uganda Matters University and did a diploma in Democracy and Development Studies, Bachelor of Democracy and Development Studies, a Masters of Arts in Development Studies, then crossed to Islamic University in Uganda and did a certificate in effective policy formulation and management, then back to Uganda Management Institute where she did a certificate in public administration and management, and finalized at National Leadership Institute in Chankwanzi where she got a certificate in leadership skills and management. Briefly, she is a teacher and a politician. That is according to the information we have gathered briefly. And lastly, that will be Her Excellency the Vice President-elect, that is the Honorable Major Retired Jessica Rose Epel Alupo. She's commonly known as Jessica Alupo and currently the Vice President-elect of the Republic of Uganda to serve from 2021-2026. She's a Ugandan politician, educator, and former military officer. She has served in the Cabinet of Uganda before as Minister of Education and Sports since 2011. She is also an elected Member of Parliament in the NRM, an elected Member of Parliament as Katakwi Woman MP. Alupo was born on the 23rd of May 1974 and she's 47 years of age from Katakwi in Uganda. She's a Ugandan by nationality. Her education, she went to Makerere University and did a BA in Political Science, a Master's in International Relations from Uganda Management Institute, a Diploma in Administration and Management, Master's in Public Administration and Management. Her occupation, she's a military officer and a politician. Years of being active, she has been active since 2001 to date, and currently she has been named as the new Vice President of the Republic of Uganda. Is for the new Vice President of Uganda, Her Excellency Honorable Jessica Rose Epel Alupo. We thank you so much for watching. We congratulate the Vice President, Prime Minister, and all the honorable ministers appointed. We'll follow that story so much tomorrow in Newsroom. We thank you so much for watching. My name is Michael Jordan Lukomwa with Elizabeth Nakakoni and the whole team. We wish you the best of the night. Do not miss the weather forecast here with my colleague. Bye-bye.
There is a slight reduction in the amount of rainfall received lately. Those other places are still having light showers. Kutesa Mil with today's forecast. This is due to the ridging over the tip of South Africa that has pushed the rain belt far north of our country and the west. That's why some parts of the northwestern of our country are having slight rainfall.